Hey, this is Brian. I am coming to you live to talk about some observations I've made with the recent body cams, the body cam footage that I've seen. One of the interesting observations I've made is the appearance of people in the concert area who declare that they are associated with the Army. And what's interesting is they don't say that they're associated with the military. It's almost exclusively Army. It's almost always Army talk that I'm hearing. I don't hear anyone say Marine. I don't hear anyone saying Navy veteran. And even though there's an Air Force base just up the road, I don't hear anyone say U.S. Army Air Force. And the closest base is probably just up the road from Vegas at Nellis. No, the only thing we hear people in the police body cam, so this is Las Vegas Metro's body cam, we hear people identify themselves as Army. We hear Army Ranger. We hear somebody identify himself as Army Infantry. I hear somebody mention Delta Force in a body cam. I hear Special Forces in the body cam. And it's just interesting to me that we have so many people identifying themselves not in the general military veteran sort of way. They're identifying themselves almost as active duty Army personnel. Army Infantry, Army Ranger. And then we, Mr. Burgundy released a video today, and somebody said after the last volley, the military is here. And I've heard that before. So naturally you would think, all right, maybe these are just veterans attending the concert, but the pattern of communication is very unique. The pattern never refers to any of the armed forces outside of, hey, Edward, yeah. So the cam I'm talking about specifically is Officer Tran's body cam. It's 2 hours long, and I'll share the video. It starts out with him hunkered down for the first half hour, and all you see on the video is his yellow vest. But then you have about 2 hours after that. So what I noticed in specifically Officer Tran's video, you have a lot of people identifying themselves to Officer Tran. There was a gentleman who runs up to Officer Tran while Tran is hunkered down, and he says, Army Ranger, are you okay? That's really interesting. Why is an Army Ranger asking Las Vegas Metro if he's okay while Metro is hunkered down? Really weird stuff. I heard somebody identify themselves in Officer Tran's video as Army Infantry. I heard somebody identify himself to Officer Tran as Army Ranger. Now, at the time of a mass shooting, it's probably not a good idea to identify yourself as an Army anything, because Metro is very trigger happy. They even have a policy for dealing with former military people, because they've shot former military people. So they have a policy for dealing with military people who have what they call excited delirium and things like this, other things that they use to justify maybe shooting a veteran who's going through a mental crisis. So that's what I don't understand. They have policies to deal with former military people that they say are going through mental illness and presenting problems to the public. However, at this mass shooting event, you have people running up to the cops saying Army Ranger, Army Infantry, and the cop is just letting them run by and run the show. Who was running the show? So that's what's interesting to me, and I'll share Officer Tran's body cam footage. But for some reason, within the concert area, it seems that people who are identifying themselves, not in general military terms, like, you know, Army veteran, Navy veteran, former Marine. No. Hey, what's up, Yumi the Greek? What happens is, within the concert area, during the time immediately surrounding the shooting, let's say the 20 minutes surrounding the shooting, you've got people identifying themselves in Army lingo terms. They're not identifying themselves as a Navy veteran, Marine veteran, Air Force veteran, Air Force, airman. No, They're saying Army Ranger, Army Infantry. You hear people say things such as Delta Force in the background. And then you have all these guys with short hair walking around like with freedom. In Officer Tran's video, there's a guy who actually tells this Las Vegas Metro cop, I'll escort you, and he brings him to the backstage area. And the guy's at short hairdo, and he refers to his time overseas because he was actually laughing at Officer Tran. Officer Tran and another cop were talking about some sounds they heard, and they said, yeah, we thought they were fireworks. And in Officer Tran's camera, this tall guy with a green shirt and a cowboy hat starts laughing at them. And he's like, oh no, I've been overseas. I know what bullets sound like, and those were not fireworks. So who's this guy who's bragging about his military history, acting as like a liaison that has to guide Officer Tran around the inside perimeter of the concert area? Very weird to me. Who are all these guys identifying themselves as, hi, plain and simple? So what do I think it means? James, what do I think it means? It means that there's dudes running around with free reign inside the perimeter of the concert area during a mass shooting. That's all that it means, based on my observation. So what does it mean after that? Metro's got to talk about this. Like, who are all these military dudes running around identifying themselves as military? And why didn't you stop them? You know, you've got a guy who's running around saying Army Ranger. Usually Metro would be like, that dude's crazy, we need to control him. Instead, this guy's running around running the show. That's crazy. What is going on? Metro has a whole policy for dealing with mentally ill veterans. They have it. However, for the Las Vegas mass shooting, they let Army veterans run around and do whatever they want? What? What are they talking about? Who are these guys identifying themselves as Army Ranger, Army Infantry, and then there's a dude in Officer Tran's video, and this dude's got a big bushy beard, and he's all decked out in Kevlar. Man, he looks like to me, he looks like a Delta Force dude. So who are these guys, these military dudes that have free reign throughout the concert area while Las Vegas Metro is hunkered down, hiding around the perimeter? Take a look. Whenever you see somebody transporting bodies around, the guys helping them out all have short hair, and they all look like they're military fit. They all look like they can run 2 miles in like 12 minutes or under. These dudes look like they're studs. So why are they given free reign throughout the concert area while Metro was hunkered down outside the perimeter? Who are these dudes? And why are people running around Las Vegas identifying themselves as Army Rangers? I love Army Rangers. However, if Army Rangers are running around in Vegas doing an operation, they need to let civilians know about this. Like, I love Army Rangers. I mean, I think when an Army Ranger's there, it's no joke. They make stuff happen. So when things hit the fan, you want an Army Ranger on your side, for sure. But what was Las Vegas Metro doing with these Army Rangers? And they didn't say Army veteran. They didn't say military, former military, can I help? No. Army Infantry. Army Ranger, are you okay? Are you okay, Metro Cop? I'm an Army Ranger. Are you okay? Because I'm here to look out for you. What is that? And Tran's like, yeah, I'm okay, I'm okay. What? Who is that dude? Why are military dudes running around Las Vegas Strip? What is going on? What is going on, Vegas Metro? And why did it seem like your officers are forming a perimeter and these military dudes are running an operation inside the concert area? Who are these guys? Who are all these dudes with short hair running around saying Army Ranger, Army Infantry? Who are they? Because that shouldn't happen on the Strip, unless you had an operation. If you had an operation, that makes a lot of sense. Just tell us you had an operation. What the hell is going on? What is going on here? So anyway, just observations that I saw. All you need to look at is Officer Tran's video. He's sitting next to guys for a while. And a lady turns to one of them and says, "You're military, aren't you?" So that's the first thing. Then while Officer Tran is hunkered down, a guy comes up to him and says, "Army Ranger, are you okay?" So Tran is all hunkered down, hiding, and this dude comes over, "I'm Army Ranger. You're right? You're right, officer? Because I'm here. I'm here to take charge of this situation." Then you hear somebody identify themselves to a victim, and he says, "Army Infantry." Well, who are these Army Infantry? What is going on? Then there's some dude, so Tran and another cop are kind of like reliving the experience. Like, "Yeah, man, it sounded like fireworks to me. I thought it was fireworks." And then he's got like this liaison or somebody who's like shadowing him, tall guy, green shirt, wearing a cowboy hat. And he's like, "Those weren't fireworks. Those were gunshots, because I've been overseas and I know the difference between fireworks and gunshots." So he says that to Tran, and then he like goes up to Tran and says, "Hey, I think you need to sit down and take a break." So who's this guy telling a Metro cop he needs to chill out? And then he goes like behind stage and he's like, yeah, help him, help this guy. And then he comes up to Tran later and says, "Hey, you all right? You doing better now?" And Tran's kind of like, "Get the hell away from me." He's like, "Leave me alone." But who is this dude? He looks like the Marlboro Man. The guy's like 6'4" with a cowboy hat. And he's just like, I mean, this guy looks like something out of a Jason Bourne movie. You know, he even gets on the phone during Tran's body cam. And he calls his wife. He says, "Yeah, honey, we got this taken care of. I'll be home a little late. All right, let me get back to this." I mean, who is this dude? Seriously, this is like real life Jason Bourne guy. You gotta look at Officer Tran's video, and you gotta look at who are these guys identifying themselves as Army Ranger, Army Infantry, and then who is this Marlboro Man looking guy, Jason Bourne Marlboro Man guy, who's talking about how he's used to gunshots back in the day, and he actually tells Tran, "Hey, let me escort you backstage. Let me escort you backstage." So what is that all about? Yeah, Bob, I'm seeing that. I don't know enough about the scanner traffic, but if you could share a link to that, that would be awesome. This is what was going on. Yeah, I mean, they matched the profile, Bob. I'm looking about Let the Bodies Hit the Floor is another channel who's done a lot of research in this area. And Bob just said that it looks like the Rangers were there. And I mean, these guys match. I mean, somebody yelled Ranger. So he actually identified himself to Officer Tran and said, "Army Ranger, you okay?" So, I mean, I'm a fan of the Rangers. I'm a fan of Delta Force. I'm a fan of all these guys. And when they make stuff happen, they make it happen. But why are they running an operation at a concert if they were? Maybe they weren't. It doesn't make sense to me. And who's that Marlboro Man that's walking Officer Tran around the concert, inside concert area? Who is that guy? And is he a cop? What? I don't understand. Like, he's in civilian clothes and a cowboy hat. And he talks about his service overseas, talking about gunshots as he laughs at Tran, who thought it was fireworks. So, yeah, so there's some interesting observations I'm making. And when you watch Tran's video, it's very boring for the first half hour because he just sits there hunkered down and all you can see is yellow vest. Pay close attention to those conversations. I'm trying to figure out who's who. And this lady turns to a guy and says, "You're military, aren't you?" Like after one of the volleys of shots. So, multiple tracks with Army on the side, parked near. Yeah. The Tropicana stuff, they say that those were Army, like, recruiting trucks is what I've heard. I could be wrong. So that was kind of the story was, yeah, they were just Army recruiting trucks there to set up, I don't know, tents during the concert. I don't know if they were associated with these dudes. I don't know what's going on. But what I will tell you, my observation is, based on the body cam footage, I have yet to see a body cam footage of a Metro cop inside the perimeter of the concert during the shooting. I have yet to see one body cam of a Metro cop inside the perimeter of the concert during the shooting. I see cops outside the perimeter, immediately outside the perimeter, like Officer Tran and there's another cop who's right across from the Mandalay Bay. He's the one who all these military-looking dudes keep asking for an ambulance, and he tells them to get inside, get inside. So what is going on? It seems like there's all these young military-looking guys who were there for first aid. Yeah, I see, Bob. That's what I heard. That's what I heard too. That the Army, that the trucks are related to a recruiting. So what's interesting is you've got all these military guys inside who seem to be the ones providing first aid, and they're running out, yelling to the cop, "I need an ambulance," and the cop's yelling, "Get back inside the perimeter." So what was this? Were they trying? Was there an operation, and Metro was containing everything within this concert perimeter? Because Tran doesn't enter the perimeter of the concert until about 15 to 20 minutes after the shooting. And at that time, he's got like this Marlboro Man liaison walking around with him. So I don't understand it. And then later on, this Marlboro Man liaison brings him and some other cops backstage by Aldine's truck, Aldine's bus, and there's a dude in the corner in the shadows, full bushy beard, full camo, Kevlar, big rifle. I mean, this dude looks like he's ready to go to Afghanistan. I mean, when you see the images of these special ops guys in Afghanistan, they look like this dude. I mean, I'm glad we've got folks like that supporting us. I just don't know what they're doing near Jason Aldean's bus at a concert. I mean, it's cool and all. I just don't understand it. And what was Metro's role? And was Metro not allowed inside the perimeter without an escort? Yeah, Bob, I don't know. You know, Bob, we're special forces with them. I don't know. Like, there's that body cam where the cop is right across the street near Gate 1, across from the Mandalay Bay, when he's yelling at everyone to get inside. That body cam, he comes in and there's like two young-looking cops. Hey, Ouija, there's two young-looking cops, and he says, "Are you part of a team?" And the guys are like, I don't know. Who are these dudes? Who are these dudes? Like, they look like they're scared to death. And he's like, "Are you part of a team?" Well, a team would refer to like special ops team or something like that. Or I don't know, these guys are like, they look at this cop like, I don't even know why I'm here. I don't know what's going on in here. They look scared to death. They look scared to death. And he's like, "Don't let anyone out." What is going on? What went on inside the perimeter of this concert during the shooting and immediately after the shooting? And why don't we have a body cam from any Vegas Metro cop from inside this perimeter? Why were they forcing people back into the perimeter? Yeah, wow, plain and simple. Yeah, share any links you can when I post this video. Whatever links you have. This is just an observation I'm making. It looks like the cops were not even allowed inside the perimeter until a certain time, because I only see Officer Tran's footage when he's inside the perimeter, and it looks like he's got this Marlboro Man that has to escort him around. I mean, you got to look at this relationship. It's very strange after a shooting. You've got a guy in civilian gear in a cowboy hat who acts like he is in charge of Officer Tran. He walks him around, even tells him, "Hey, you need to sit down. You need to sit down." He kind of orders him around, and Tran listens to him. So who is this Marlboro Man guy? I mean, he looks very brave, and you know, he looks like he's a good guy, of course. I think these are all good guys. But who are they, and what kind of operation was going on? Hi, Diana. We're just talking about these guys who identified themselves as Army Infantry, Army Ranger, and then this dude who was, this dude who looked like he was a, this guy looks like the Marlboro Man. Yeah, the concert security cameras. I don't know, Ali M. I've been looking. The only thing I'm running with is the roof cameras, because that's the best I got. And I got this crazy Hulk dude going nuts. And there's not a cop in sight when the Hulk dude's going nuts. So where's all the cops? Like, who's that Hulk dude going nuts? And why, if I look at all this footage, do I see people identifying themselves as Army Infantry, Army Ranger, and why does it seem like Metro cops are listening to them? It's like Metro cops could not walk around the concert unless they had a military liaison with them. That's what it seems like. And these military guys are in like civilian clothes with cowboy hats. I don't know what's going on. I don't know. I don't understand it. I'm just sharing my observations with folks. But you've got to look at these body cams. The thing about the Officer Tran body cam is it's extremely boring visually because all you see is his vest and he's hunkered down. The conversations are fascinating. Army Ranger, you okay, officer? Yeah, thanks, Army Ranger. What? What is, so Metro just lets guys who identify themselves as Army Rangers run around a massacre scene? What is that? That makes no sense. Why would people identify themselves as Army Infantry, Army Ranger when you've got gunshots going on? That's the last thing you want to do. The last thing you want to do is have Metro call in and say, there's a guy identifying himself as an Army Ranger, let's check him out. No, you don't want that. Why are these guys identifying themselves as military and feeling comfortable doing so within the confines of the concert grounds? I don't understand it. So anyway, summary, I'll post the links in the notes to the two videos, the two body cams I'm referring to. And I've got, I'll try to go back to those, to the original YouTube sources, and I'll put timestamps within those channels. It's either Las Vegas Shooting Archive or WEG's channel. But I'll provide notes within, whatever I link to, I'll provide timestamps there so make it easy for you to find. But yeah, pay attention to this as more data comes out, as more body cams come out. Listen more and more to people identifying themselves as Army Ranger, Army Infantry, some mention of Delta Force, some mention of Special Forces. These are all Army lingo. This is not commonplace military lingo. I don't hear anyone say, Marine, here to help. No, and nothing against Marines. I think it's smart not to identify yourself as a Marine during a shooting episode because there's a good chance Vegas Metro will shoot you because they've done that before and they have a whole protocol for taking care of military veterans with mental issues. So no, it's not smart to just randomly identify yourself as former military at a frightening event where there's a lot of Metro with guns. Not a good idea. But just in general, why are they all Army related? Army Ranger, Army Infantry, Delta Force, Special Forces. That's what I hear. I don't hear anyone say Navy, Air Force, even though Air Force has jumped up the road. I don't hear Navy, even though Navy's just down a few hours away in LA and the San Diego area is a huge naval base. You've got Marines down there on the west coast of California. Nobody identifies themselves as Marines. We hear Army Ranger, Army Infantry, just Army. And I love the guys. I love the Army. But what was up with this operation? Anyway, check it out. Got some company down here. So I gotta roll. Talk to y'all later. Got some people coming down the block toward me. So anyway, don't want them to get in the way of my video here. But I'll let